Okay, we are live. That was weird. I had some technical difficulties there. Let me make sure that we are all set up on my end. Okay, so it looks like we're good to go now. Let me make sure I had to end the broadcast and start a new one. So I'm going to share the link out real fast. But as you're trickling in, please say hello in the chat. I appreciate that. And my name is Taylor Talks Comics. We are going to be going over the May pre-order catalog. We do a monthly show here where we go over the catalog. Here, let me. Oh no! Oh no! Having so many issues. What's going on here? Okay. All right. So if you're in the chat, drop a line, say hello as I figure this all out. Gotta make this post real fast. Make sure people have the right link on here. Okay. You guys are getting some behind the scenes of what it's like to post on social media. But yes, so every month we do a show every week. We do a show every week where we go over the books that are coming out next week, the following week, and that show will be happening on Thursday this week. But we are live. Let me make sure that worked. Hold on. One last thing here. Okay. I think it worked. All right, we're good to go now. So let me start the show properly here. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I lied. One more thing. Is it on? Are we on? Are we live? Are we live? Someone, if you're in the chat, drop a line. Let me make sure that you are live. Make sure you can hear me. Anybody? No? This is the worst case scenario here when you can't figure out if you're actually on or not. Okay, we're live. Sorry about that. All right. So my name is Taylor of Taylor Talks Comics, and we are doing a show today to go over the May pre-order catalog, and we go over all the great stuff that that you can pre-order from us that come out later this year. But it's the May pre-order catalog because all the companies put out their catalog or their books and stuff out early. We can pre-order them for you, and that's the best way to ensure that they'll make it onto your shelves if you order these books through pre-order. But we do a show live every week. And those are typically on Thursdays. This week it'll be on Thursday at noon. We'll go live and go over the comic books that are coming out the following week. So every week we go live once. But we do a special extra live episode whenever the pre-order catalog comes out. So you usually get about 5 live shows a month if you're doing your math at home. And this is that special monthly live episode. So we're going to be live twice this week, right now, and then on Thursday at noon. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up and then subscribe and hit that notification bell icon so you'll never miss out when we go live in the future. Thank you. If you're here watching us, drop a line in the chat and let me know that you're here, that you can hear me okay, that everything looks great. We had some technical difficulties. And also let me know what comic books you're looking forward to coming out. But yes, I'm Taylor of Cheap Graphic Novels and cheapgraphicnovels.com, where we sell all kinds of great comic books and graphic novels up to 90% off. And you want to make sure you're following us on social media at Twitter or at CheapGN on Twitter and Instagram, and also on Facebook to search Cheap Graphic Novels. You can find us on there. We always post things on there for sales or when books are on sale, when books go live on Monday evenings, that kind of thing. So you don't want to miss out on any of that. We also have a weekly newsletter. If you go on to cheapgraphicnovels.com and scroll down to the bottom of the page, at the bottom right, you can see a sign up for weekly newsletter section there. You want to make sure you sign up for that because you don't want to miss out on any of that action. If you're in the chat, drop a line, say hello. I appreciate you being here. If you're watching this later, at a later date, then hello to you as well, and you can drop a line in the comments. That will also be appreciated. But let's hop to today's topic because we have a lot to cover, and I actually had to do this a little bit earlier than usual. I usually try to do it no earlier than noon, unless something's happening. And just a little peek behind the curtain. We're having some remodeling done. Oh, I've got someone coming home, actually. Hold on. Happening here. So we had to go a little early. But the pre-order catalog, let me see here. I find it. Oh, here we go. We got our first comment. This is Rocksmith. Love you guys. Just copped the Spawn Deluxe. Is very nice. Yes, so we just had a big image sale this past, I guess, last week into the weekend, and we had a lot of comics that were up to 50% off, or at least 50% off that were image comic titles. So it looks like Rocksmith here jumped on the Spawn Deluxe. Yeah, it was a great time and great chance for people to fill those gaps in the collection or just pick up some of those more expensive books for a good price. So I'm glad that you jumped on that. And again, you want to make sure we sent out an email blast for that as well. So it's not just the weekly newsletter you get if you sign up for those newsletters or the email list, I guess. You also get notified of any sort of sales we have going on. Let me make sure I'm sharing my screen here so we can start off with the catalog. Okay. So there you go. Here's the catalog. Up first, we have Hellboy monster-sized Hellboy hardcover. So this is a huge book. It's over 1,500 pages, and it includes if you have the paperback omnibuses of Hellboy, it includes all 4 volumes of that, I believe. Yeah, volumes 1 through 4. And not only is it going to include 1,500 pages of Hellboy stories, but it's also going to be like library edition height. So it's going to be, it's not just like an omnibus, like your Marvel DC omnibuses. It's actually going to be the same height and dimensions of the Hellboy library editions, but it's going to include 1,500 pages. So it's going to be similar to, if you're not familiar with the Colossal Conan editions back in the day before Dark Horse lost the license to Conan. They're the same size as those. It's also the same size as like the Big Damn Sin City book. That book is also like library edition height, and it's a huge book. So this is like a massive, massive book. And I will point out that since this is specifically says right here, collects the stories and graphic novels contained in Hellboy Omnibus volumes 1 through 4. Those are the paperback standard size trim omnibuses that Dark Horse puts out, and those are mapped differently than the library editions of Hellboy. So the paperback omnibuses are mapped in, I think, chronological order by how the stories take place and whatnot. And the library editions are, yes, that's right. Okay, so the paperback omnibuses are mapped chronologically by how the stories happen. The library editions are mapped chronologically by how the stories came out, if that makes any sense. So they're going to be mapped like the paperback omnibuses. And this is a huge, huge book. It's 1,500 pages. So it's going to be like the thickness of like your War of the Realms omnibus and your Squirrel Girl omnibus or your Avengers vs. X-Men omnibus, like those fat omnibuses. What's going to be the height of your Dark Horse Library Edition, which is just, it's going to be a huge, huge book. So I can't wait to see what this looks like. I personally have all of the library editions, like volumes 1 through 6 plus Hellboy and Hell. So I think I'm going to stick to those. But I'm kind of curious about this because I do love like the massive, like the kind of oddity of a strange trim size of a book and whatnot. And this one just happens to be a huge tome. So I at least want to see it in person. I don't know. Maybe I can do it, order it and then do a comparison or something. But let me know in the comments if you're going to, or in the chat if you're going to pick this up. Rocksmith. The Twitter tweets was clutch. Knew a lot of disappointed people that paid full price. Okay, awesome. Yes. So yeah, make sure you're following us on all those platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the newsletter, all those things, so you don't miss out on any of the great sales we have going on. They kind of happen out of nowhere sometimes. We don't really have a lot of forewarning about them. Max just kind of jumps on the ability to have those sales based on things that the distributor does. So yeah, they kind of happen out of nowhere, which, I mean, again, a peek behind the curtain, which you might have noticed on Twitter, Instagram, I put up like a kind of a haphazard graphic for the first notification of the image sale, because he texted me and was like, hey, we're going to do the sale. So I kind of threw it up there as fast as I could, and then I went back and did a nicer looking one. But yeah, make sure you're following us on social media so we can let you know of that. Up next, we have John Sable Freelance Masterstroke Edition Omnibus. It's a mouthful. This is from Mike Grell. If you're familiar with Mike Grell from the Green Arrow run, he did with DC Comics, which was just put into 2 omnibuses recently. He also had, I think he had a run on, I want to say Nightwing maybe, but he also did, I know he for sure he did comics for Legion of Superheroes, and then he had some of his own creator-owned titles. He did like Warlord. What is it called? Warlord. It's not Warlord of Mars. That's not the micro thing. The Warlord. The Warlord. That's all it's called. For DC Comics as well, which I hope one day gets put into an omnibus. But this is his creator-owned series, and from African plains to the concrete jungle of New York, now you can experience all the pulse-pounding action and excitement in a larger format. So this is the absolute-sized deluxe edition. Includes the first 13 issues, and there's going to be 4 or 5 volumes of this. Does it say? One of the best reviewed comics of all time. It doesn't say. But this was previously put through Kickstarter, and now it's getting put through the direct market. It is published by Comic Mix, but it is going to be absolute sized. It's kind of like self-published by Mike Grell, but he's really trying to format it into the absolute edition. But it's just being called Omnibus, and I think there's going to be 4 or 5 volumes. I can't remember. Let me know in the chat if you remember, if you backed the Kickstarter. But it said in the quick Kickstarter these will be released in the direct market eventually. They just wanted to crowdfund them to get the project going, and then I think there's some special stuff you can get to if you go to the Kickstarter. But the first volume is up for pre-order now. Then we have Batman Adventures Omnibus. This is one I'm super stoked about. These are the comic books that came out during the era of the Batman Adventures TV show, which is like the greatest animated superhero show ever, in my opinion. And these came out at the same time as those, but also afterwards. Like these even went on after that show was off the air, and then they have gone back and done more issues that are like the later adventures or something. The adventures continued. Those are not included in this. This just includes a first initial run of Batman Adventures comics. Includes Batman Adventures 1 through 36, annuals 1 and 2, and holiday special number 1, and a story from Batman Black and White number 1, and Mad Love number 1. And then for the first time ever, never before reprinted, the comic book adaptation of Batman Mask of the Phantasm. So a couple of things here, 1 through 36. So those are the issues that ran concurrently with the show. It either, like the comic book, the single issues either adapted some of the episodes from the show, or were just like new episodes of the show, like they new stories from that weren't shown in the show. But the Mad Love number 1, that's by Bruce Timm, the same artist that did the artwork for the show. He does the artwork for Mad Love number 1, and I think he does some more issues in there here as well. His artwork's just amazing, and it's fun to see it in a sequential art of a comic book rather than just on the show. But Mad Love number 1, that's the story of Harley Quinn's origin. And then the Mask of the Phantasm adaptation will be in here for the first time as well. I'm super stoked about this. It's going to be like 1,200 pages, I think. And these, like, if you like that art style of the show, if you love that show at all, I think you should buy this for sure. But that art style is very much kept in the tone are kept in here. And they're like each issue is like its own episodic adventure. So it's not like this long ongoing story like you get in more modern omnibuses. It's more, in terms of storytelling, it's more of like the Golden, Silver, Bronze Age comics where like each issue is kind of one and done. But I like that fluidity of the story, just being able to pick up one issue and read it in one sitting and whatnot. But there's a lot of writing here by Paul Dini, who wrote a lot of the best episodes of the best episodes of Batman Adventures. And like I said, artwork by Bruce Timm. I think a lot of the artwork's by Ty Templeton, who did a great job of like mimicking that style. I think Sandwiches dropped a line here that Batman looks dope. I agree. It's one of my most anticipated books to come out this year. So this one is due out September 5th. You can get it for $89.99 pre-ordering today. That's 40% off the cover price. Should have listed the dates here too. Monster Size Hellboy is due out September 26th, and John Sable is the Masterstroke Edition Omnibus is due out July 4th. And that's an important note too, is whenever you pre-order these, if you're ever curious, like sometimes the dates get moved back. We do charge you right away, which is nice because then you don't have to worry about this weird charge coming out of nowhere whenever the book does ship. It comes out right away. So once you pay for it, it's done and over with. Then the only thing you have to do is wait for the book to come out. I prefer that method a lot more than some of the companies that don't take the money out of your account until they ship it, because then it's like, especially when books are getting moved around, you don't know when to expect that money to come out. So the money comes out right away. But if you're waiting on the book and you're like, hey, that's what's come out July 4th, where's my John Sable book? If it did get pushed back, you can always visit the website on the John Sable page for that book and click on it. Max does a good job of updating all the release dates. So if the date changes, you can always go on there and check it out. Up next, we have Thunderbolts Uncaged Omnibus. We have 2 covers here. This is from Marvel Comics. This is the Jeff Parker, Kev Walker run of Thunderbolts. And the first cover is the DM variant, exclusive DM variant, which is exclusive, sorry. The DM variants are exclusive to comic book shops, which CGN qualifies. And then the standard edition covers you can find anywhere. You can find it at comic book shops, you can find Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the bookstores, that kind of thing. So this is the DM variant cover, which you can only get at comic book shops, done by Mark Bagley. And this includes Thunderbolts 144 through 174, and then Dark Adventures 175 through 190. Man, Thunderbolts ran a long time, over 170 issues. That's a huge series, or like for a modern run to run that many series, that many issues. So this is $74.99. This is the DM cover. This is due out December 5th. So these pre-order catalog, the pre-order catalog itself comes out in May, but you can expect these books to be coming out at any time during the year. So we have some of them come out in July, some all the way through December. This is the Greg Land cover. This is the standard edition cover, also $74.99. Same content, just the dust jacket's different. Then we have Marvel Universe by Arthur Adams omnibus. So this first cover, both covers are done by Arthur Adams, as you can imagine. This one looks like it showcases Longshot, Dazzler, Rogue, and this is due out December 5th as well. And this includes a lot. So this is as you can imagine, these are going to be all the Marvel stories that Arthur Adams has put out. It's one of those creator-centric omnibuses. But Arthur Adams is an incredible artist that I love a lot of this work. And some of this work I've been waiting to come out in like a gallery edition, but I might have to just bite the bullet and pick this up because there's so many good stories here. Longshot 1 through 6, which is a series that Anna Cinti wrote and Arthur Adams drew. And it was like because of how great Arthur Adams' artwork was that put the character Longshot on the map, like made him like super popular character just because of that one miniseries with the Arthur Adams artwork. That's how good it was. He's one of those kinds of artists. And then the other one I'm going to spotlight here is Fantastic Four 347 through 349. That is the new Fantastic Four. That is Walt Simonson's run on the FF, but Arthur Adams came in for 3 issues and he drew them. And it's called the new Fantastic Four because Johnny, the Thing, and Reed Richards are all missing. I don't want to spoil why. But so Sue Richards has to go and find new members to take up the mantle of the Fantastic Four, if you will. And she finds Ghost Rider, Wolverine, the Hulk, and Spider-Man to take over. So imagine those 4 guys being the Fantastic Four for 3 issues with incredible artwork by Arthur Adams. That's the new Fantastic Four. And then there's also in here's a lot of the annuals that Arthur Adams did for X-Men. It's kind of like a treat every year that Arthur Adams was going to do the annuals because his artwork was so like detailed and he couldn't. There's no way that anybody could have kept up a monthly schedule doing his kind of art style. So they kind of kept him on annuals for the X-Men titles. So a lot of those are in here as well. So as far as double dipping, if you're an X-Men omnibus collector, where you collect every X-Men omnibus or mutant related omnibus, you probably have a lot of this material. I think this is the first time that those 3 issues of the new Fantastic Four will ever be collected in an omnibus, though. And there's also like the Marvel Holiday Special. I don't think that's been collected. So it is kind of a hodgepodge of Arthur Adams artwork. But if you don't have any of these Marvel Universe collections, omnibus collections, they're pretty cool. I get the criticism behind them where people are like, I don't want to read a hodgepodge of stories. I get that, I guess. But I like them because they pack in a lot. So if they did like any sort of pinups or advertisements, like I know I did a video on my personal channel for the Frank Miller Marvel Universe by Frank Miller omnibus, which is really cool because in general, Frank Miller has like the 2 Daredevil omnibuses and then the Elektra one. And then if you get the Marvel Universe by Frank Miller, those are 4 omnibuses that collect everything that Frank Miller ever did for Marvel Comics, with the exception of 1 issue of John Carter by Warlord of Mars, because that was a rights issue. But pretty much every issue and every piece of artwork that Frank Miller ever did, because that Marvel Universe by Frank Miller omnibus, they packed in even like the Hostess ads that Frank Miller did. So you get like Frank Miller doing 1-page comic strips about Twinkies and stuff, which is funny. Like with the Marvel characters with Twinkies and Hostess pies, which are just funny. So they pack in a lot of stuff in here too, beyond just these issues. So I think they're fun. I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Do you guys like these Marvel omnibus or Marvel Universe omnibuses? Let's do out December 5th. Then we have a big reprint here. This is Batman: The Golden Age omnibus, volume 1. This is a huge reprint because a lot of these Batman Golden Age, I know from personal experience, have gone super out of print or hard to find at good prices. You have to look on eBay, and some of these volumes are going for like stupid, like $300 prices. So I hope that this sells well and they can reprint the whole run of them, because I've personally started dabbling in a lot of these early Batman adventures. I love Golden and Silver Age comic books personally, and it's fun to see the Golden Age era. Um, and I think Golden Age comics has a bad rap too, because people think they're like hokey and just for kids kind of thing. But you have to remember, these Golden Age, especially, were before the Comics Code Authority even existed. So they kind of got away with a lot. Yes, they were written for kids, but there's still like some scenes where you're like, I don't know if that would fly on a PG movie or a Y-rated TV show of today. In a lot of these, so this collects Detective Comics 27 through 56, and then Batman 1 through 7. So Detective Comics 27 is the debut of the Batman character. That's the story he debuted in. And then he ran with Detective Comics, forever beyond. Detective Comics became a Batman comic basically from then on. And then he had his own series called Batman that ran concurrently with it. So you got like 2 Batman issues a month. But there's so many great stories in here, especially this first volume, that you get so many debuts and origin stories. That obviously you get the Detective Comics 27, his debut. Batman's origin story, though, where you find out like his parents died and all that stuff, and then he made the vow to become Batman and fight the injustices of Gotham. That didn't happen until issue 33 of Detective Comics, I believe. It's one of those early number 30s issues. But then Batman #1 has the debut of the Joker, the debut of Catwoman, and then Robin debuts in Detective Comics 34, I think. Robin debuts the issue after the origin of Batman. And then Commissioner Gordon. So it's fun. It's fun to me to read all those origin stories of the villains too, because Batman has one of the best rogues galleries ever. But yeah, so you get work in here by Bill Finger, Bob Kane in studio. Jerry Robinson does a lot of the artwork too. Gardner Fox does some of the writing. So this is a book I'm really excited to put on my shelf finally. And I think it's gonna be one of those things that I'm gonna buy it, read it, and as long as I'm still entertained, I'll keep buying the further volumes if they do reprints. Up next, we have the Red Sonja, the Adventures of Red Sonja omnibus, hardcover by Dynamite. This looks to be the early adventures of Red Sonja. Let me see. Yes, okay. So people that have been wanting to buy the Red Sonja adventures that came out around the same time as the Conan adventures, because Red Sonja is a Robert E. Howard property, but Marvel didn't have the rights to that character. Dynamite still had it. So when Marvel was recently, in the last few years, doing the omnibuses for like all the Conan omnibuses and Cole and who's the other character they did? Solomon Kane. Those are all the Robert E. Howard characters and properties that they don't have, that Marvel doesn't have the rights to print anymore. Those went all over to Titan. But they can reprint, like if Red Sonja appeared in a Conan comic, I think they could reprint that, but they couldn't do any of her own stories. So it looks like Dynamite's kind of finally jumping on the bandwagon of reprinting these early adventures. Again, I think they did a long time ago, maybe reprinted these, but it looks like they're going to do it again. And it looks like it's going to be in a oversized hardcover. At the price point and the fact that they're calling it omnibus hardcover, I believe these probably will be the same size as the Marvel and DC omnibuses, because Dynamite recently did the Boys omnibus editions that were that same size. So I'm assuming this will probably be the same trim size. If you want me to look it up in the comment or in the chat or the comments, let me know. I can find out the exact trim size for you. But I assume that's what it would be. But this collects Tales from Marvel feature 1 through 7 and Red Sonja issues 1 through 15. So it is like those very first adventures of Red Sonja. And this will be $74.97, and it comes out July 4th. And we have Making of the Assassin's Creed 15th Anniversary Deluxe Edition slipcase. This is probably by Dark Horse, right? Yeah, Dark Horse Comics. So this is like a making of video game slipcase book with a lot of the artwork and stuff, the concept art behind the game. That'll be $69.97, due out September 12th, 30% off. We have a big reprint here. This is the Hawkeye by Matt Fraction and David Aja omnibus. This has been long out of print and been long sought after, especially with the recent Hawkeye TV series on Disney that took a lot of inspiration from this run. But this is a very exciting run that has amazing artwork by David Aja. David Aja, like he has such a design heavy, inspired artwork style that I love. And this is like the first big run where he kind of like unleashed this style, and I think he's become popular for it ever since. But this is the first time we've had a DM cover for this omnibus. So as you can see here, this is the Jimmy Chung DM variant. It's exclusive to comic book shops, which you can see here. This is due out November 28th, and it carries a price tag of $100, but you can get it for 40% off at $59.99 if you pre-order through Cheap Graphic Novels. It includes about 25 issues. It looks like Hawkeye 1 through 22, an annual, and Young Adventures number 6. So I guess about 24 issues. That's the DM cover. Then I'm going to scroll down because the standard cover is down here somewhere. No? Is it not on here? Wait, there it is. Okay. It's down at the bottom. Okay. This is the standard edition cover, and that's by David Aja. You can see the artwork right there, like what I was talking about, like the designy, heavy artwork style. But yeah, so that's been a long out of print omnibus that people have been wanting to come back into print, and now it is. Then we have Elden Ring. Oh, we have two. Oh, it's volume 1 and 2. Okay. Elden Ring official art book, volume 1. That's due out July 25th for $59.99. And then volume 2, same day, I guess. Okay, so they're both coming out the same day. Volume 1 and 2 of the Elden Ring official art books. They're both $59.99 a piece. Then we have the Incredible Hulk Omnibus Volume 2, which is so exciting because this is the Silver Age era of the Incredible Hulk. And the Silver Age Volume 1 was just reprinted last year. But previous to that, it had come out years and years ago. Nobody really knew if they'd ever do a Volume 2 even. And finally they announced it. And there was only one cover to pick for this. This is the cover to get. This is the Jim Steranko cover with the famous picture of Hulk. You probably have either seen that image or seen it homaged a million times or seen it on some sort of advertisement a million times. But that's a Jim Steranko cover. And I just love that cover. This is due out November 21st, and it is $59.99. And it includes the Incredible Hulk 103 to 134 in annual number 1, which, where is my, there it is. I think that's about the same number of issues that was collected in the first volume. The first volume had, oh, well, it's going to be hard to tell because the first volume had Tales to Astonish 59 through 101, the Incredible Hulk 102, and the Incredible Hulk 1 through 6. But those Tales to Astonish issues he shared with like Ant-Man and stuff, so they weren't like full. They weren't full issues, so it sounds like 59 through 101. It sounds like, whoa, that's like 32 issues right there or something. But he didn't have the full issue dedicated to himself until he had his own series, The Incredible Hulk. So like Tales to Astonish ran into 101, and at 102 they changed the title to The Incredible Hulk, and this continues on Incredible Hulk 103 through 134. So that's the DM cover, which is the one I say you almost have to get. Now the cover is by Herb Trimpe, and Herb Trimpe is an iconic Incredible Hulk artist. I love the way he draws the Hulk in his art style. But this cover is great, but just that Steranko cover is so iconic. But regardless, if you can only get access to the standard cover, you're not going to, you're not going to get the slums here. Like Herb Trimpe is no slouch. But again, due out November 21st, $59.99. Then we have Blade: The Early Years. I think there's 3 covers for this one. Yes. Okay. So there's 3 covers for this one. This one includes all of the early adventures of Blade, the character, the vampire slayer, which if you can see him on this cover, can we blow this up? Okay. You can see him on this cover. That's like what he looked like there. He's like the figure in the background, kind of looking at the camera. That's what he looked like early on. Some of these other covers I'm going to show off show more of like the Blade, like the Wesley Snipes era Blade that you're more familiar with if you've only seen the movies. But he debuted in Tomb of Dracula. So there's a bunch of issues of Tomb of Dracula in here, some Doctor Strange issues, uh, the Vampire Tales, Marvel Preview, Marvel Comics Presents. So this is basically, if you have all the Tomb of Dracula omnibuses, you probably have most of this material, but those omnibuses have been long out of print. If you want just the Blade stuff, you have to get this. Next cover is another DM cover by Gil Kane, and that is from a cover of the Tomb of Dracula. The first cover, which is by Gray Morrow, and that's Marvel Preview magazine cover, I believe. So there's 2 DM covers, and this is the standard edition cover. This is the one that you're gonna be able to get anywhere by Wilkins, and it includes like the more of the Wesley Snipes looking Blade, which I don't think there's any comics in here where he wears an outfit like that. I think these are more of the classic era Blade. Anyways, this will be $59.99, be 40% off, and it comes out November 14th. We already went over Hawkeye. Then we have Nick Rock, The Rise of David Bowie, 1972 through 1973, hardcover. Oh, this is by Taschen. So this is like a coffee table book that includes a lot of the artwork and photography and stage shots and that kind of thing, behind the scenes kind of stuff of David Bowie, if you're a huge fan of him. Phantom, the complete dailies. Again, if you're in the chat, drop a line if you're wanting me to slow down or focus more in on any certain book. If you have any questions about books that are in stock, I can answer those as well. Or if you're excited about any of these, just drop a line and say, hey, that looks awesome. Phantom, the complete dailies, volume 29. This is 1982 through 1980. Or sorry, 1980 through 1992. 1980 through 1982. I can't talk today. Just not working for me. September 5th is the day for this, and it's going to be $47.99. Then we have Okie Dokie, the art of Simone Legno. This is Tokidoki, which translates to sometimes in Japan. Internationally recognized an iconic lifestyle brand based on the vision of Italian artist Simone Legno. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. As partners, serial entrepreneurs, cult-like following. Okay, so he did a lot of fashion and toys and stuff in a Japanese style, but he was an Italian artist. That's super interesting. I'd like to flip through that book. That'll come out July 25th for $47.99. We have Project MK Ultra Complete Edition from Clover Press. I'm not familiar with this book. Let me know if you've read this. Writer is Brandon Beckner. The artist is Stuart Moore. This is due out September 19th for $44.99. It's a complete edition, a must-read that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the dark side of American intelligence. Get ready for a mind-bending journey to one of the most secretive and controversial government experience in history. Collecting both previously released volumes 1 and volume 2 of MK Ultra, Sex, Drugs, and CIA. That sounds super interesting. I'm going to actually screenshot this for myself so that I will look this up later. I'm going to look more into that. But that'll be $44.99. Let me know in the chat if you've read that. Then we have a Marvel Masterworks. We have Werewolf by Night Volume 2. We have the DM variants, which you can see there, and the standard edition. This will be $44.99, and it's due out November 21st. We have Marvel Masterworks Omega the Unknown. This is the 350th volume of Marvel Masterworks. This is one I want to highlight because I'm going to buy this. I don't have any of the Marvel Masterworks. I previously did way back in the day, but then I sold them, and I've since have gone into the Epic Collections omnibus format, is my preferred format for Marvel Comics. But this has only been previously released, I believe, in a trade paperback. This run of Omega the Unknown. So I want it in the Masterwork edition, and I kind of like the idea of having some Masterworks, I think, that are like kind of these oddball volumes that I'm not collecting an entire 350 volumes of. But this is written by Steve Gerber, who's one of my favorite comic book writers ever. He's the guy that created Howard the Duck. He had his iconic run on Man-Thing and the Defenders and the Guardians of the Galaxy, a lot of the early Guardians of the Galaxy adventures. And then he did things like Omega the Unknown. This includes Omega the Unknown 1 through 10 and the Defenders 76 through 77. Omega the Unknown was originally supposed to be a character that stood alone, stood outside the Marvel Universe, that wasn't really intermixed in the Marvel Universe. This is the standard edition cover that I'm showing you now. But then, like any creator that tries to do something like that, editorial gets in the way and wants you to kind of intermix it into the Marvel Universe, and they had to do that. But then the series only lasted 10 issues and got canceled. But they were able to finish the story in Defenders 76 through 77. So there's going to be 12 issues in this, and it'll be $44.99, due out November 14th. And the artist is Jim Mooney. I should have said that too. But Steve Gerber, I love his writing style, and Omega the Unknown is one of his. It's like a wacky, more bizarre character, but that's kind of how all Steve Gerber's characters were. We got a Rodimus Prime Rib. You're in the house. Thank you for joining us. Nice. I was almost going to get the 2 volumes that are available, so I have some cash there. Are you talking about the MK Ultra book? What are you talking about, Rodimus? Because if it's the MK Ultra book, I'd be curious if you have read that, if you'd recommend it, or maybe you're talking about something else. Let me know. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. I like seeing people in here. Then we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IDW Collection Volume 15. IDW has been faithfully putting out these hardcovers, and they look so great on the shelf. I'm so far behind that I haven't gone into these yet. I don't know if I just want to go with the paperback collections they're putting out that are like the same material. If I want to get these hardcovers, I love the Ninja Turtles, but I've only ever read the early stuff. Like I have all 6 volumes of the Ultimate Collections for the Mirage years, the Eastman and Laird stuff. I have the Urban Legends, their Image years, and I've read the Archie Comics era, but I haven't read, this is like the only series of Turtles I have not read. And I know it's been great. People have largely been touting it and talking about how great it is. It just feels so daunting to jump into, but I need to do it. I need to jump in. But this is volume 15, and this includes issues 113 through 124 in the Jenica 2 miniseries. I like that they put a new character on every cover too. That's really cool looking. But let's do out July 18th for $41.99, 30% off. Then, if you're a big Dick Tracy fan, I believe there's a few of them. No, there's just 2. So these are Dick Tracy, the Complete Chester Goulds, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 is the one on the bottom of the screen there. That is due out September 12th. And then Volume 2 is due out September 26th. Both of them are going to be $41.99 if you shop with Cheap Graphic Novels. That's 30% off the cover price. And these are the earliest newspaper strip adventures of Dick Tracy. And these are going to be put out by Library of American Comics. So previously, Library of American Comics has done the entirety of the Chester Gould's Dick Tracy run. I think it's like 30 something volumes. But the first 5 volumes were done by Clover Press, I believe. And they were smaller trim size. So when Library of American Comics took over, they just started with volume 6 and went on through the end. So if you're a big Dick Tracy fan, I've seen people have these on the shelves. Those first 5 volumes look they stand out because they're smaller trim size and whatnot. They're now going to reprint those in the same trim size as the other ones, so they'll all match on the shelf. That's what these are. And Dick Tracy was a fun newspaper strip if you've never read it. It has the Rogues Gallery is really wacky and eclectic, like a Batman or Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, where each person has like a different character that stands out, and you know exactly who it is when you see it. I think that Rogues Gallery for Dick Tracy kind of inspired things like Batman's Rogues Gallery. But also these were like kind of violent and uh, in like violent. I don't know what other word to say, but violent. They're a little bit more mature, I think, in their. But they were in the daily newspaper, so kids could have read them. But you go back and read them, and you're like, whoa, like this was stuff that kids were reading. Um, just like the way that characters would die and stuff. But so think I'm going to pick up these earlier volumes. I don't think I'd ever have the entirety of the collection unless I just like fell in love with it. But these will be out, like I said, in September, and they're $41.99. Rodimus came back to me. MK Ultra. Okay. Have not read it, but super interesting as it's a program created by the CIA using drugs for interrogations and other stuff. There's a documentary about it. Well, now I'm even more intrigued. But the art is great and the story is really interesting. Okay. I love CIA stuff. I love documentaries about counterintelligence and those kinds of things. And then you're telling me the art's great. I think I'm going to, yeah, I'm definitely going to look into this. And then I'm going to look at, do you know the name of the documentary, Rodimus Prime, Rib, and where I could watch it? Because I want to add that to my list as well. And then we have Johnny Hazard Dailies Volume 10. This covers the years 1959 through 1961. That comes out September 5th for $39.99. Marvel Studios, Ms. Marvel Art of the Series hardcover for $35.99 if you shop with CGN, due out December 5th. We have The Making of Assassin's Creed, not the slipcase. This is just the hardcover without the slipcase if you want that. Due out September 12th for $34.99. Critical Role, The Mighty Nine Origins Library Edition hardcover. I think, yeah, this is a comic book. It's not just an art book. Yeah, this is a full-on comic book. Cast of Critical Roles must be. Sorry. Hardcover features stories by art in art by fan favorite critter creators in direct consultation with the cast of Critical Role. Oh, Critical Role, I think, is a podcast. It does like it's one of those podcasts that does like their own Dungeons and Dragons campaigns on the podcast, and they have like different characters play, or they like actually get into like the characters and whatnot. So that'll be $34.99, due out September 12th. Oblivion Song by Kirkman and De Felice. It's a compendium, trade paperback. So this will be standard size compendium, includes all 36 issues. That'll be $34.99 if you shop with CGN and pre-order now. That's due out August 8th. Worlds Beyond Time, sci-fi art of the 1970s hardcover. So this is like a coffee table book showing a lot of cool science fiction artwork from the 70s, probably in a lot of like sci-fi magazines and whatnot. That is due out July 25th for $31.99. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the art of the movie. So we have the new movie coming out for Across the Spider-Verse. This is an art book showing off the artwork of the movie. This will come out July 4th and it's $31.99. Blankets 20th Anniversary Edition. It doesn't say if this is hardcover or not. I'm assuming it is. The Blankets is a great, great story by Craig Thompson, who's like a fantastic cartoonist. It doesn't say specifically if this is hardcover or softcover. Let me know in the chat. I can look this up for you for sure and let you know. Never mind. It says hardcover right there. Duh. It says Blankets HC 20th Anniversary Edition. It is definitely a hardcover then. That'll be $31.96 if you pre-order with cheap graphic novels. But it's a great heartbreaking coming of age kind of story. It's one of the like all-time great creator-owned graphic novels that people cite as like best non-superhero comics of the 2000s, if you will. But Craig Thompson's a great cartoonist. If you haven't read this, I'd highly recommend it if you're wanting a good coming-of-age love story. But it'll be $31.96, like I said. Comes out August 29th. Batman Under the Red Hood Deluxe Edition. This is kind of it's one of those weird DC Deluxe editions that could have been probably called an omnibus, because I think it includes like 500 pages. It's got 6, 11, 12, 18, I guess about 20 issues. So maybe a smaller omnibus, if you will, but it's gonna be the same trim size. So they could have put the omnibus name on it if they wanted to. But this includes all of the Under the Red Hood story of Jason Todd becoming villain slash vigilante, and all the issues that pertain to that, including Red Hood: The Lost Days 1 through 6, which I don't think has ever been collected in any sort of oversized edition. But I know a lot of people are excited about this, and it's only $29.99 if you shop with CGN. That's 40% off. It's pretty cheap for. I'm pretty sure it's about 500 pages. I can look that up if someone wants me to. Okay, we got a few comments here. Let me catch up here. I saw somewhere there's a House of M companion omnibus releasing this year. Are you aware of any info on this? Well, let me look it up. I'm not. So, full disclosure, I do all of the social media for Near Mint Condition as well, Omar. So you think I would know this because I'm if it is true, I've made a post about it, but there's so many announcements that get caught up in things. So the House of M Omnibus came out earlier this year in January. There doesn't look like there's a companion announced. Let me look on another website. No, this is riveting video, but I like to answer your question, so I want to. Yeah, I don't see anything for House of M companion. Rocksmith, you can. Yeah, I don't see anything for that. Let me ask Omar though, if you want to tweet at the Near Mint Condition account or something like that to remind me to look it up or ask Omar, I can look it up further when I'm off the air and whatnot. But I don't see anything about that. Rodimus Prime Rib, the one I saw on the History Channel under the MK Ultra Mind Control. Okay, I'm gonna look that up. That's the documentary name. I will. So okay. So it carries as a very similar name. That'll be easy for me to remember. Definitely gonna get the Under the Red Hood Deluxe. I think that was pushed back to next year. Oh, so is Rodimus Prime Rib referring to the House of M companion? Well, now I'm even more intrigued because maybe I'm wrong here. Let me look this up together. Because I know Omar always changes the name of the videos after the announcement. So it's easier to look up. House of M overview. Breaking news. You know what? I'm just going to text Omar. How about that? We'll do it live on the air. I have access to this. Why not ask? An omnibus that you've announced. Hopefully, he doesn't tell me like a secret and like, oh yeah, but I haven't announced it yet. I'm gonna spoil something. Oh, we got answers. Thank you, chat. Everyone's jumping in to help. James Abel, nice to see you in the chat, man. Appreciate it. You're a frequent person on the Omni Dog's Vault, and oh, James, I have to say you beat Omar. So, House of M companion omnibus coming out in 2024. It was originally announced for December 2023. And then Rocksmith says, "Say less." Omar, breaking news 2. Oh, James Abel posted the link to the video or the title of the video, and then Omar just texted me back and said, "Yeah, but delayed until next year." So thanks, James, in the chat. Thank you, Rodimus Prime Rib. Thank you, Omar, who's not watching this probably. But yeah, so that'll be delayed till next year. So that should be. We have some of these omnibuses that are coming out in December in the pre-order catalog this month. The pre-order for the House of M companion omnibus will probably be in June's pre-order catalog. So look forward to that. I'd say June or July. Up next, we have Fantastic Four Epic Collection, The Crusader Syndrome. And I think this is volume 9 or 10 of the Epic Collections. This is a Jerry Conway era. Includes issues 147 through 167. Yeah, so it's volume 9. Because volume 8 was Annihilus Revealed. So this is the continuation of the post Lee Kirby era of the Fantastic Four. I'm excited for that because those issues between Lee Kirby and John Byrne are the ones that I've wanted to collect the most of Fantastic Four. You know, Fantastic Four is my favorite comic from Marvel. So, and I'm so excited because of the Epic Collections. I'm going to be able to have those first 416 issues of what makes up the first volume of Fantastic Four on my shelf. That's always been a goal of mine. So this helps out with that, as it is a volume 9. This will be due out August 29th, and you can get it at Cheap Graphic Novels for $29.99. We have another Epic Collection, Avengers: The Gathering. This is what people will lovingly call the leather jacket years of the Avengers, written by Bob Harris, who was a longtime editor of X-Men comics. This will collect Avengers 367 through 377, plus some crossover issues with the X-Men. That's due out August 22nd, and it'll be $29.99. We have Gargoyles. So Dynamite's finally. So I don't want to say finally for Dynamite because they just recently acquired the license for Gargoyles comics, but somebody is finally reprinting these comics because these are the Gargoyles comics that they had like a cult following in the mid 90s when this cartoon was coming out, which was a great cartoon, by the way. I loved it as a kid. But they're finally releasing these. But I stand corrected. So later we're going to get to the old issues. This is the new stuff. This volume 1 right here, hardcover, signed edition. Okay. It's going to be signed hardcover edition. So if you want, and these are usually kept to a very limited number. So I always want to emphasize that anything that says signed edition on here, you should probably pre-order so you can make sure you get one, because I don't know if you'll have these on sale the day these books come out, because they might run out of how many signed copies they have. But this will be $29.99. It is a hardcover. You get that for 25% off the cover price, and it includes the first 6 issues of this new series that Dynamite's put out. Later in the video, you'll see the early stuff reprinted. We have Insufferable by Mark Waid, the complete trade paperback by Boom Entertainment. This is the spin-off of the Irredeemable series. So Mark Waid and Peter Krause had the Irredeemable series they came out with. This is Insufferable, which is a spin-off to it, and includes 18 issues of material. But it's going to be the entirety of the Insufferable series, 18 issues, so it won't be quite as big as those Irredeemable paperback omnibuses that came out, but it'll be a thick 18 issue paperback nonetheless. Let's do out September 5th for $29.99 if you shop with CGN. Avengers Epic Collection, This Beachhead Earth. This is a big one. This is $29.99. Shop here with CGN. That's 40% off the cover price, due out August 22nd. But it's a big reprint that's coming out because this came and went real fast. It was when it first came out a couple years ago, it went out of print super fast. It includes Avengers 77 through 97 plus Incredible Hulk 140. It's called This Beachhead Earth, but it includes the entirety of the Kree Skrull War, which has the great Neil Adams, the late great Neil Adams artwork in there for that Kree Skrull War story. And then it also includes, I think, Avengers 77 through 97. I think it might include the Black Panther origin story as well in there. I can't remember what issue of Avengers that happened in. It looks like it, because I think that's what the cover image is from. Let's do out August 22nd. Then we have Art of Invincible Season 1 hardcover. These Art of movie and TV series books must be popular because Marvel keeps pumping them out, and it looks like Skybound's jumping on the bandwagon here with Robert Kirkman's co-creation here. But this is the Season 1 hardcover. It's going to be $27.99. That's 30% off the cover price if you order with CGN. That's due out October 3rd. Venom Epic Collection, The Madness. This is the trade paperback Epic Collection, obviously. And it'll be $26.99, due out September 12th. And this includes Okay, so this includes like the crossover with Darkhawk, because it includes 3 issues of Darkhawk, and then includes the miniseries Venom the Madness and Venom the Enemy Within, and then the Hulk versus Venom series, Venom the Mace. So a bunch of miniseries of Venom from the 90s. Venom Knights of Vengeance is in there. I'm getting more text messages. That'll be $26.99, due out September 12th. Fantastic Four by Dan Slott Deluxe Edition, Volume 4, hardcover. So this is the OHC of the Dan Slott era of Fantastic Four. I don't think it concludes the series. Let me see. Issues 31 through 39. No, so there'll be a 5th volume after this. If they conclude the Dan Slott era of Fantastic Four in OHC, there will be one more volume after this. Because I think he finished with issue 48 or 49. I know he didn't quite get to 50, I don't think. But there should be one more volume after this. That's what I'm trying to say. But this will be due out December 12th. And if you order a CGN, you can get this book for $26.99. And that is an oversized hardcover. Iron Man, Infamous Iron Man by Bendis and Malieve. This is one of the thicker trade paperbacks, but it's not titled Complete Collection anymore. Marvel's kind of done away with the branding of Complete Collection on the trade paperbacks, and they're slowly kind of dipping into having modern epic collections. I think what's going to eventually happen is that there'll only be epic collections. I think Marvel will still do like the slim trade paperbacks that have like 5 or 6 issues in them. This is just me like hypothesizing, by the way. I don't know this for sure. But it seems like that's kind of what the transition looks like, because so like I think they'll still do those slim trades, but then any of the thicker trades I think are going to either be called Epic Collection or Modern Epic Collection, because they have this, which has no branding on it as far as like Complete or Ultimate or Epic Collection like they have in the past. And then like this week that I'm talking about, or that this video is airing, I guess, we have the Cosmic Ghost Rider thick trade paperback that has no branding on it like that. And we had the Guardians of the Galaxy by Al Ewing just come out. So it seems like they're almost transitioning. I don't know. It seems like a weird thing, but I think eventually there's always going to be epic collections. But I digress. The reason why I was saying that is because this will be one of the thick trade paperbacks. This has like 20 issues in it. And it's the Brian Michael Bendis, Alex Malieve era of the infamous Iron Man 1 through 12, and then Invincible Iron Man 593 through 600. And that'll be $26.99 and due out August 22nd if you order through CGN. And then speaking of the modern era epic collections, we have a couple here. This one is called Venom, Modern Era Epic Collection, Agent Venom. And this is when Flash Thompson becomes Venom. And I think this is the Cullen Bunn era, is it not? I think the title, the writer artist might be wrong on there. It says Dan Slott and Humberto Ramos. Maybe they wrote part of it, but it includes Venom 1 through 16, plus a lot of other appearances of the Agent Venom character. It includes a lot of the modern era Venom stuff that happened before Donny Cates. Let me check out the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Then we have Avengers Modern Era Epic Collection, New Avengers, Assemble. This is the Brian Michael Bendis era. This will be $26.99, coming out August 29th. We have a few more pages here, so I'm going to try to go a little bit faster. We hit all the big books so far. But if there's any book that I fly through or I go through faster, you want me to focus more in on or you have a question about, just drop that in the chat. I don't mind at all. I should get my second screen going here so I can keep an eye on the chat, though. Okay. X Factor Epic Collection Judgment War. I believe this is, let me see. I've got my X Factors Epic Collections here. Is this volume 2? X Factor 37 through 50. Oh, no, it'll be volume 4. Okay, so X Factor Epic Collections. We're still missing that volume 2 then. So we have volume 1 and 3 have already come out. This, what we're looking at on the screen here, will be volume 4. And includes X Factor 37 through 50. and then X-Men 242 through 243. I know Omar was saying that he was jealous of Epic Collection collectors because this is the first time this material has ever been collected, and it's going to the Epic Collection first, not the omnibus. That'll be due out August 15th for $26.99. Then we have a reprint. This is X-Men Epic Collection Proteus, and this is volume 6 of the Epic Collections, and it's purely Chris Claremont, John Byrne. I think it looks like George Perez, Michael Netzer, and Rich Buckler do some artwork in there, but I think that's from the annuals and whatnot. But the X-Men issues, X-Men, what it collects, X-Men 111 through 128, that's all purely like that historic triplet of terrific team of Chris Claremont, John Byrne, and Terry Austin on inking. Like those three were just, what they did with X-Men comics was just magical. But this has gone out of print, but now it's coming back into print. It'll be $26.99. You can get that on September 12th. Like I said, that's volume 6 of the Epic Collections. We have Star Seeds. This is a book I wanted to focus in on. So because it doesn't include the cover image there, I'm going to turn off my screen for a second. This will be $26.24, and it's due out August 22nd. This is a series I love from Fantagraphics. And so that's a volume 3. Volumes 1 and 2 look like this. It's all by Charles Globitz. I'm probably butchering his name. But this is like such a fun, weird, trippy, bizarre comic book that... Oh, sorry. I hit the mic there. That I just fell in love with when I read it. And these books are so cool, too. Like, look at the end papers. But if you want like a weird, trippy, cosmic adventure, then and you just want to try something new and different, that's different than your average comic book, I guess, I'd give this a shot. I can see if we have volume 1 and 2 in stock right now. I don't know if we do or not, but you might be able to find them. I know they went out of print last year, but I think they might have reprinted them. And like I said, these are from Fantagraphics. But the artwork's just like insane, like insanely detailed and fun. And like I said, the story's just trippy, cosmic craziness that at first it seems kind of nonsensical. And you're kind of like, what's going on? I don't understand it. But it all like pieces together in like a beautiful way eventually if you just keep going with the ride. But it's one of those stories that just feels like it's perfectly from like someone's imagination, and they're just like going for it in the art style. That was volume 1 that I was showing off there. This is volume 2, which has some even, wackier end papers. But it's such a fun story that I recommend to anybody that wants to try out something different and new. And these books are like over 300 pages of this great artwork of this character. That's the main character right there. I'm trying to find out some more. But he has like, it's very much like a creator-owned, underground, modernist like art style to it, but there's a lot of like Jack Kirby inspiration in there too. I don't know if I can find because Charles Globitz, I don't know where he's from. I forget. He might be from Latin America, I think, maybe. I can't remember. I wish I looked that up before this. But most of his posts he writes in Spanish. But these are all in English. All these comics are by Fantagraphics. But I follow him on Instagram, and when I was reading this, I'm like, there's so much like there's some scenes I'm trying to find one that's like Kirby Crackle in it and stuff too, and it has like these Jack Kirby inspired aspects to his artwork. And I'm a huge Jack Kirby fan, so it's probably always on my radar whenever I see it. But then when I was following him on Instagram for a few months, he started posting like his shelf collection, and it had like a bunch of Jack Kirby books on his shelf. So it's like light bulb. I was like, that's where the inspiration comes from. But so yeah, I love those books. Like I said, I could look at see if we have the volumes 1 and 2 in stock, but I wanted to show those off real quick because they're fun books. Sorry to digress, but what type of shelves are those? IKEA? These are they're made like IKEA's. These like the IKEA Billy shelves, but they're actually from Target, I believe. Um, but IKEA makes these shelves. They're called Billies, like Billy. If you look on IKEA, they make these shelves, and they're longer than like IKEA has like the Kallax also that are like the cubes. I wanted longer shelves to show off more at once. The cubes I always ran into issue with not having enough space for like that last book on the end. And I just think it looks nicer having them wide like this or longer. Um, but these are not my permanent shelves that I just did a library tour. I have my own personal YouTube channel called Taylor Talks Comics if you want to look it up. And I just did a 4-part library tour showing off all my books. And I talk about it a little bit in there, but where my library is located right now is not the permanent location in my house. I'm going to be doing some remodeling. We are doing some remodeling in my house, and my library will be moving to a different room. And when that happens, I'm either going to paint these or get new ones. But I do like that wide look to them. But I am going to have to reinforce them because the Billies, if you put too much weight on the middle of them, they start to bow a little bit. So these aren't reinforced yet, but I need to do that soon because they're going to start bowing if they don't. Um, so my point is, I like the long look of them, but then you do risk the bowing of them because books weigh a lot, especially comic books, because of all the ink on the page with the artwork and stuff. They're heavier than your normal prose books. But yeah, these are just I got them for Target, but they're made like they're exact same dimensions and make of the IKEA Billy shelves. How do you reinforce them? There's a few different ways. I could do a video on these actually. Max from CGN, the guy that runs the place, he also has, yeah, he has the Billies as well, but he's reinforced them and like built them into his walls. He showed me some pictures of them, but there's a bunch of videos on YouTube you can find. There's different ways. You can either put like a metal bar in the back of them that holds up the middle section of it, or you could put like a wooden board that's kind of more hidden back there as well. The only thing is that these are all adjustable. If you can see, yeah, you can see all the holes on them right here. That's because I can adjust the shelves up and down, where like based on the height of the books, which is another thing I liked about these because the Kallax are one dimension, but they're only one size. So if you have like shorter books like like manga or just trade paperbacks, they had like a weird gap in the space above the book, which I didn't like the way that looked. I wanted to make the most of the space. So I like that they're adjustable because like the books that you see here are shorter than standard sized. So I can make those shorter and then put omnibuses above them. Um, so that what I'm trying to say is if you reinforce it in certain ways, you won't be able to adjust those anymore because it'll be permanent that way. So you have to look at that too. But there's different videos and stuff on YouTube you can find. If you hit me up on social media at Taylor Talks Comics, we can have a longer conversation about it. So I don't have any. Thanks for the info. You're welcome. I don't have any like magical answer or way because I haven't done the reinforcement by myself. But when I do go to reinforce them, I'm going to find some method that allows me to still adjust them because that's another reason I like these. Like I said, because I like the idea of I want just enough space in the book to be able to grab it out. Basically, I don't like all the extra space on the top. But good question. That's fine. I don't mind little off-topic comic discussions. That's cool with me. All right, so that was Star Seeds Volume 3. That's due out August 22nd, and that'll be 26.24 if you order through CGN. I guess I should read the description there. Fantasy adventure series, epic work of cosmological brilliance, combining Are we back? Are we back on? Let me know if you can see me. Okay. I think I got my second screen on. I can see myself. Sorry about that. The internet crapped out on me for a second. Thank you for sticking with me as we do this. Yes. So let's get back to this before that happens again. Present. We're back. Okay. Thank you. Yes. All right. Thank you guys for not leaving me. Let's share the screen again. Get back to this. Make sure okay, we're on that one. Perfect. All right, I'm going to scroll back down to where I was on page 2. We just talked about Proteus, Starseeds. Okay, here we are. Red Sonja, The Invincible Red Sonja, Volume 1 hardcover. This is written by award-winning fan favorites Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, and includes all 10 issues in one amazing volume. So if you're a fan of the Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti, Red Sonja comic books, there's a hardcover that includes everything. This will be due out July 11th, and it'll be $26.24. The my internet's giving me all kinds of trouble here. Are we back on? Are we back on? Here we go. Here we go. All right. Then up next we have, I think what I'm going to have to do is not click on them each book. So I think I'm just going to have to scroll through here. Apologize for that. We have Ms. Tree, Heroin Withdrawal trade paperback. These are by Titan Comics, and they have been pumping these out, and I want to read these because these look like just awesome crime noir stories of a private detective, which sounds amazing to me. I know Omar's highlighted these on his channel as well, these Ms. Tree books, and I think I'm going to say Jess Bragg has also highlighted these. I know at least the Minister of Comics. I'm trying to think of his nickname, Taylor. I know he has highlighted them on his own personal Instagram. So I think that he's shown them on Omnidog's Vault. But they're great private detective crime noir stories that are led by the character Biz Tree. And they are this book is $24.49, and it'll be due out October 3rd. I cannot talk. October 3rd, 30% off. Masterpieces of Fantasy Art, Taschen 40th Anniversary Edition. This will be $23.99. I think this is a reprint with maybe some more packed in, but it has a lot of the fantasy artwork from Lord of the Rings, Conan the Barbarian paperbacks with Frank Frazetta covers, and a lot of stuff from Metal Hurlant, which is the French magazine that became Heavy Metal. It looks like Philip Droulet, H.R. Geiger. I'm trying to see if other names I recognize from here. So it'll be $23.99. Taschen puts out great, beautiful books too. Like they don't go cheap on their book design. They're beautiful, beautiful books. So if you're a fan of fantasy art, this will be $23.99. Due out July 18th. That'll be 20% off. We have Homicide, a graphic novel part 1 based on the book by David Simon. Homicide, the celebrated true crime book from creator of HBO's The Wire, is re-envisioned in this first volume of a gritty, cinematic graphic novel duology. So that'll be out July 25th. August 6th, 1945, at 8:15 in the morning, an explosive charge of more than 15 kilotons fell in the city of Hiroshima. Tens of thousands of people were pulverized, and everything within 4 square miles was instantly destroyed. This is based on a true story. A deluge of flames and ash had just caused Japan's greatest trauma and changed the course of modern warfare and life on Earth forever. So this is a story recounting that horrific day in Japanese history. There have been a lot of manga and stuff that were written about after the effect of this of the bomb on Hiroshima that I've read and liked. So this will be an interesting perspective that could be worth reading. This will be 20% off. You get this for $23.99. Then we have Ironheart, the saga of Riri Williams trade paperback. This is a saga book, so it's going to include a lot of appearances of Ironheart. Be $23.99. We have Adventures, the King Dynasty trade paperback, $23.99, due out August 22nd. She-Hulk by Mariko Tamaki. That'll be $23.99, September 5th, 40% off. We have another modern epic collection, of two of them actually, for Loki. One's due out August 15th. The next one's due out September 5th. And I think they're being released in reverse order too, by the way. So Journey into Mystery, the one that's due out August 15th, $23.99. I think that's the second volume. And then volume 1 comes out September 5th. So regardless, they're still like a couple weeks apart, even though they're out of order. But they'll both be $23.99 and relatively same time that they come out. Chillingly Weird Art of Matt Fox hardcover, $23.99. $23.95, I'm sorry. That'll be out September 19th. I'm going to scroll through here too to pick up some more highlights. Giants Days Library Edition, Volume 2 hardcover. Those are by Boom Comics, and they're finally reprinting these and then printing the further stories of the Giants Days Library Editions. This one will be $22.49. Get some more highlights here. BPRD Omnibus Volume 7. Those are the new rebranded paperback omnibuses that Dark Horse has been putting out. And this will be $20.99, due out September 5th. Royal City Compendium. This is the, and it says Volume 1 on it, but there's no more issues after this unless Jeff Lemire revisits the series. So if it does say Volume 1 on the actual book, I know Jeff Lemire's talked about revisiting it. So if he does revisit it, maybe that's why there's a Volume 1 on there. That's due out July 11th for $20.99. Oh, Soichi by Junji Ito, the latest of the Junji Ito story collection hardcover, $18.75. It comes out July 25th, and I believe those are early Junji Ito stories. Then we have Gargoyles here in Manhattan hardcover. This is the early stuff that I was referring to earlier. The first collection of all new tales. Here comes 3 special edition hardcovers. Huh. Well, that is the same description. I think the description there might be wrong. But I think these are the stories that came out in the mid-90s in conjunction with the cartoon. And that'll be $18.74, due out July 11th. Then we have... Oh, you know what? Actually, going back to Gargoyles, that might be the unsigned edition. So the previous one I showed was the signed version. This might be the unsigned version for this 1874. I bet you that's what that is. So maybe it's not the early. I know they're doing the early adventures, though, eventually. Gotham City Year 1 hardcover, including Gotham City Year 1 issues 1 through 6. This is the Tom King series with Phil Hester on artwork. It's going to be a standard size hardcover for $17.99. Batman and the Joker Deluxe Edition, including all 7 issues of the hit series from Mark Silvestri, who does the artwork and the writing on this. And it will be an oversized edition, deluxe edition, for only $17.99 if you pre-order through CGN. The Creepy Archives magazine. Dark Horse is doing the Creepy Archives magazine-sized trade paperbacks. That'll be $17.49 for Volume 3, due out September 5th. Again, if there's anything you see that you want me to focus on, let me know. I'm trying to run through these and wrap this up a little bit. We've gone a little long here, and I'm having internet issues. Batman and Superman World's Finest, Volume 2, Strange Visitor hardcover. This is the next to 6 issues. So the first volume included the first 6 issues. This is the next ones. Standard size hardcover, $14.99. The great series that people have been hyping up big time, written by Mark Waid, artwork by Dan Mora. And then they have Gargoyles Here in Manhattan trade paperback version. So if you want the signed edition, the hardcover edition, or the paperback edition, they've got all versions of that. Slaughterhouse 5 graphic novel by Ryan North. We have a new edition of that that's been previously released. EC Archives crime suspense stories. So they've also, Dark Horse has also been doing like the magazine sized versions of the EC comics, and this is the first one for crime suspense. James Abel's jumping in here. Gargoyles reprint of the out of print comics haven't been officially announced, but it's been okay. So those other 3 Gargoyles books I showed are the first 6 issues of the new series that they've been putting out this year. The out of print comics from back in the 90s, they haven't officially announced it yet. Okay, they've just been teased. All right, so I stand corrected. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Trying to run through some highlights. Harley Quinn, the animated series, the Eat, Bang, Kill Tour trade paperback. This is a hugely popular series, and now it's going to be in trade paperback for the first time for $11.99. Batman the Audio Ventures for $11.99. These are like the next season after. It's like a Batman the Audio Ventures is like a radio show, but it was like a new series done in a podcast, I believe. And then they've made like comic book adaptations of that, and that's what that is. Radiant Black Volume 4. That's the superhero story that Kyle Higgins is doing with Image. Joe Fixit. That's Peter David's revisiting of the Joe Fixit character. It's a new series. Elektra Black, White, and Blood trade paperback. This will be the first time it's printed in a standard size trade paperback. Superman Kal-El Returns. That's a Philip Kennedy Johnson story. All right, these are all not available for pre-order. Let me get to something else. Mighty Marvel Masterworks Incredible Hulk Volume 3. Those are like the digest size Masterworks. And we have some Slim Marvel trades. All right, page 5, last page. Superman versus Meshi, the Superman manga, as well as the Joker manga. And that's it. Okay. Sorry, I ran through those last ones pretty fast. Low hit. Sorry, Taylor's busy with work today. Can't contribute much. No, it's fine. I appreciate that, Low hit. I appreciate you jumping in there. And I appreciate everybody joining me. So this has been the May pre-order catalog video. Like I said, please stay tuned because Thursday at 12 noon, I'll be doing another live video. Follow us on social media at CheapGN on Twitter and Instagram, and then also on YouTube. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it.